different camera angles.
Yeah.
Okay, we're streaming live now.
There we go.
Good morning. We're streaming live.
Yes.
Good morning.
And now we're sideways.
Yes.
Are you still? Good morning. Good morning and welcome to Portsmouth Coffee Talk. It's a great day to be alive in the U.S. of A. today. We're so happy to have with us this morning Conrad and Melissa and Arrington, along with our co-hosts, the Colonel and Slim. Slim is having a few difficulties this morning, and hopefully he will be able to get on before the show comes to an end. But I wanted to start with saying what a wonderful transition that took place in this country on yesterday. First, I want to thank Joe Biden for all that he's done for over 40 years of service to this country. He's given more than 50 years of his life to this country. And for that, we say thank you. And we all say thank you. You know, it's good to know when to hold them and when to fold them, when to walk away and when to run. And he decided that yesterday was that day. And I'm so thankful that in his deciding to make this transition, he decided to throw his support behind Vice President Kamala Harris. Last night, we had a call to all Black and Brown women within this country, and they were expecting 1,000 women to get onto the call. However, within a half an hour before it was scheduled to start, there were too many people on, so they had to get logged off and logged back on. It ended up with 40,000 Black and Brown women on that call. And it was a major call to get organized. It was a major call to put your money where we can see where the Black and Brown women are giving their money to the campaign. So once again, I want to thank Joe Biden. I want to thank Kamala for stepping up to the plate. And I think this is giving new energy to the party. The energy was lackluster because just to see two old white men running, it did not generate the enthusiasm that we needed in order to get to this point where we can beat the man from the other party and with the man that he chose to be his vice president. So, Melissa, tell me how you feel this morning.
Well, I'm very excited. At first, when I first found out, I was a little bit, there was that pit in my stomach at first. But, you know, I've been saying this, that my position is if it's not Kamala, that I'm not partaking. So if the party does not do what the party is supposed to do, then we need to make sure that Kamala is the nominee. Because one of the things that I have said and repeatedly will say is that that is the only path for me, because I'm of course worried that the Democratic Party may do something. And you know, there's still a few weeks and there's a lack of trust there. And so my position on this is, well, if America loves racism more than America loves democracy, then we get everything we deserve.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So I am all in for Kamala. I agree with you. I am so energized. Like I said, there was this like initial pit in my stomach, you know, not because I'm a huge Joe Biden fan. I am grateful for Joe Biden. I'm so grateful for him. I was riding with Biden all the way to the very end, because we just cannot have the other man, that
Exactly.
orange tangerine in office again. And so I was riding with Biden all the way, but I think this new energy. I mean, like, I got goosebumps when you said that there were 40,000 women. Like,
40,000 women.
I mean, it's just amazing. And so one of the things I'm telling people is, like, if you want to make sure that the party hears you and your voice, if you can send $5 to Kamala Harris's campaign,
Exactly.
$5. Everybody that just sends $5, it makes a difference, because that is the way that we make our voices heard. And unfortunately, it's through money. So, but I heard she's raised like a ridiculous amount of money. Conrad, wasn't it like 27 million in like 5 hours or something yesterday?
Yeah, when I was watching MSNBC for last night's coverage around 9 o'clock, between 7 and 9 o'clock, one of those news stories I had heard from Rachel Maddow was that ActBlue had released that in the past 5 hours, so this could have started somewhere near 2 o'clock, they raised about $27.5 million in small donations.
See, it's powerful. So powerful.
So, Conrad, your thoughts, Conrad?
Well, I could really tell from the coverage that I was watching last night, and this is one of the nights I did not switch to CNN. So it was a lot of MSNBC, and for the other thing I was watching was a lot of Bar Rescue. But MSNBC, I could tell from the hosts that they seemed to be more happy. Joy Reid never stopped smiling.
I know.
Had a lot of smiling too, and it got the impression that they have this internal feeling that we're now in a different election entirely. They feel more optimistic. I believe their coverage is going to be more optimistic. They could stop talking about how Biden is dragging things down. In theory, you can start to see coverage show that she is going to lift things up.
And and you had they did some organizing, community organizing last night. And I think that when I got off after midnight, there were thousands of women who had already signed up to organize in their community. So the community organizing is taking place as we speak. Arrington, your thoughts, Arrington?
Yes, good morning. Thank you so much for having me, Lee, Slim, and Colonel. And hello to my good friends, Melissa and Conrad. Honestly, to piggyback off of Melissa, I was extremely excited. But I also was upset at the same time. I was upset because of the timing. I just wish it was very, very early on. I was very critical of the Democrats, the fact that they never had a proper primary, because there were other candidates that was at least trying to give people that option. Because I've spoken many times with Conrad and Melissa. Joe Biden initial take was to be a one-term president. I mean, the main focus was to get Trump out, do your term, and then start making the transition on who you would like to have next. And so when I heard that he was running for re-election, I was a bit disappointed. I felt like it was a disservice to the voters out there, Democrats, and really the non-Trump Republicans, because they were also going to be leaning towards Joe Biden. Again, thank him for his service. He's been in office since the early 70s.
Yes.
And I think it was around this. I think it was about that time he can, just enjoy his family. I know he's recovering right now with or still has COVID. So it's just the timing. Again, I'm excited. I think Kamala Harris is a very great candidate. At the time when she was running for president, she was very qualified. She just had to drop out early due to finances. So like Melissa had said, hey, $5, $2, or however much, it definitely helps. With that $27.5 million that happened in like the first 5 hours, those were Democratic donors that was already just on standby. Like, all right, who's going to beat? I mean, they were holding it because for how quick that was, they were waiting, they were hoping, and it was just a breath of fresh air. Like, okay, now that we have this going, but we have 4.5 months. She's already received key endorsements, from President Biden, Pete Buttigieg. I know he's endorsed her, Gavin Newsom, loads of celebrities has already openly endorsed her as well. Still waiting on I know Barack Obama and Michelle, they have not yet come out with the endorsement. I'm very positive that they are. And other key Nancy Pelosi and other key Democrats in leadership. But it's definitely time. It's definitely time. I'm curious who's going to be her VP pick. I feel like that will definitely add more of a boost to the race. I don't know. It's boy, has it been a circus. I mean, just the week before there was an assassination attempt. Now here we have, just the first time ever in our history that, at least for me, that a president has dropped out of a race.
Exactly.
What, 4 months heading towards the election day. So I think it's definitely a good season. I come from a family of a lot of AKAs, so they were partying, they were hype
this morning.
What? So
the Divine Nine and period is excited. The Divine Nine was on last night. Do you hear me? They were on that call last night. So
yep.
I did just want to touch on like the thing with Biden and this staying in the race for his second term. I think that we need to be reminded that political science, and data will tell you that primarying an incumbent president, I don't care how old they are, it never will come out the way we want.
Yeah.
And I think the fear there, and I hope maybe Colonel might talk about this, it just from historically speaking, that was the worry. And I think that's why Joe Biden stayed in for so long, because this was not a very simple decision, because data tells you that this is not always the right time or thing. I think we're in a whole different environment now, because we have social media and there's a whole different power historically that we haven't had in these other presidential elections. So while I actually am one of those people that screams against the whole political science data sometimes, because of the way I think people run campaigns based on that. But with Biden, I do think that was a huge part of the decision, that he had to we have to beat Donald Trump, and that's just it.
Exactly.
That's just it. And so that I understand why they waited. I think honestly, it's going to be to our benefit that we have a short period of time, because that push for that energy. So I just wanted to address that. But I'm ready for this. I'm ready, and I think everybody just needs to get ready.
Yes.
That's correct, Melissa. I agree with you on that, Melissa. And I am also glad that it's a short window. It's a short window that we have to work with. And I think within that short window, we can truly make a difference. Colonel, your thoughts?
Well, first I'll address what Melissa said. Well, thanks for everybody for showing up this morning. Well, first, Melissa is correct. If the incumbent gets primaried on the re-election, the statistics say that they are going to lose. And then so I'll get that back. And then I'll also say something. I think Gavin was talking about the plan. I believe the real plan for Joe Biden was to run for re-election, win the election, and then bow out after a year or so, no more than 2 on the second year, to give, and then that would give Kamala 2 times to run again, plus to finish out his term, which would give her between 10 and 11 years in office. And so because of his age and how things are going and the corruptness of this felon that they're running against, things have changed. And he put country over party and what the original plan was in action a little earlier than what he thought. And so it was a courageous move, what he did. But statistically, actually, strategizing wise and politics wise, I think somebody talked about the lateness of it and why, and the timing of it. The timing was perfect because one, he checkmated Trump, who, J.D. Vance, who is the most MAGA right-wing KKK supporting racist out there, and they doubled down on white supremacy, what they were going to bring to the White House with this Project 2025. And so once they had their nominating convention, locked in all what they wanted to do to this country, not for this country, but do to this country, and wrecking the world and this country in the wrecking the world in its aftermath. Then after they locked it in, then he made his move to say, well, I think I'm going to bow out. Mm-hmm. So if he'd have done this a little bit earlier, then I surmise that convict Trump would not have picked JD. He would have probably tried to moderate things. So think about that. And I think that Joe Biden, who has been playing three-dimensional chess with these Republicans all along, he checkmated them again, because now you can see the only responses you get from the Speaker of the House, this mouse that they got. Oh, if he can't run, he ought to resign the presidency.
Exactly.
Yep. I read about that yesterday.
Oh, that's there. Yeah, I've had to clear that up even too with people, because I'm like, he's not accepting the nomination. He didn't say he's not fit to fill his term.
Thank you.
Exactly.
He's not accepting the nomination. There's a difference.
They're putting words in his mouth like they normally do. But
you know, I kind of agree with Colonel in a bit that it gave them a chance to bring J.D. Vance on. Okay, he is more right than Trump, because he's smarter than Trump. That's the first thing.
There you go.
And he has a plan himself. You know, especially where women are concerned. And saying that women need to stay home and take care of their children. Not all people have earned $1 million a year that they can afford to stay home and take care of their children. So they're talking about cutting child care. They're talking about taking women's rights away. You know, they're talking all these things. And I said, how ironic it is that J.D. Vance is from Ohio. And in 1851, at the Women's Rights Convention in Akron, Ohio, Sojourner Truth spoke. And at that convention, she said, if the first woman God ever created was able to turn this world upside down, then surely these women together ought to be able to turn it right side up again.
That's right.
And she said, now they're asking to do it. I said, here it is, Akron, Ohio, where and it's Ohio, where J.D. Vance is from. Someone who's trying to take women's rights away. And in 1851, the Women's Rights Convention was held in Ohio. So we really, I think it's a message. I think there are many messages that are being given throughout this whole plan. I mean, it's just like puzzle pieces that are coming together, you know?
I agree.
Someone say something. I'm sorry.
No, I agree with you. It's the puzzle pieces coming together.
They're coming together. They're coming together.
So you know,
I lost my thought, but it's okay. Melissa, go ahead, Melissa.
I think actually Colonel was going to say something.
Colonel?
Yeah, so President Joe Biden talked about when he first came on into the president. He said, I am going to a bridge to the future. And now he is fulfilling that last statement. He is going to be a bridge to the future. Now, saying that, as Kamala goes across the country, and depending on who she picks as a running mate, and I'll go to that in a minute, he can also be out there attacking Trump and this aging warrior he got his one little BB shot wound in his ear.
With big 4x4 gauze over it.
Yes, who has dementia. So look up the signs and symptoms of dementia as people lash out and can't keep a thought together. Trump has dementia. We need to talk about his advanced age.
Oh, this makes Trump
The old man.
The old man.
The oldest person to ever run. The oldest person
person.
who ever run. Yep.
That's right.
With
It totally
dementia.
changes the narrative.
With active dementia.
Yeah.
Because he's at the stages now that he cannot. You look at his rally that he had after his speech and that 2 hour plus I'm not even calling it a speech, that rant that he had in front of the world for the RNC convention, that he struggled to read what they put in front of him on the teleprompter.
Well, his concentration is not there, Colonel. He can't concentrate that long.
I know.
So he spent about an hour kissing the first responders' uniform.
Thank you.
You know, right then and there, walking to their. I mean, it's just he's very theatrical from the beginning of that speech. It was a circus. What man comes out like if he's about to enter in the boxing ring at a pay-per-view fight? I mean, you had it was the most bizarre thing. I watched the whole entire thing.
Did you?
I did. I did. I'm a news buff. I can't help it. I watched the coverage. I watched the whole entire thing, and it was
a circus.
It was
a circus. It's so performative.
Yes.
It was
so performative, and it's so not serious. And they think that like the way they're presenting is like they're really cool people, and we're like, no, like you're not cool people. You're fascist, and
the hilarious thing, they had people to try and gear on minorities and black people. You had Amber Rose, who was quote unquote a rapper and influencer. Mine, okay. He dated and she has a few babies with rappers. She's not even a rapper. I never heard no. And who does she influence? I don't know.
And she doesn't not black.
She said she won't say that she's black.
But she made all her money by dating black men. But she's not black. Her babies are black.
And from black-owned media outlets as well. I mean, she's making her finances from the culture. Again, you had Congressman Wesley Hunt out of Texas. You had Byron Donaldson. I mean, again, they don't speak for they do not speak for the culture at all. There was more black people on that stage than there was in the crowd. Exactly. So it just the whole entire thing. I'm sorry, Kurt, I didn't mean to interrupt you with that, but it was.
You notice how they were sitting in the crowd?
You said what?
Did you notice how they were sitting in the crowd when they were panning Trump and all the people who were sitting next to him, and they had like 3 stacks of red rows? I'm like, this is reminding me of the old Soviet Union when they had the marches on Red Square, and you can see Khrushchev and them all sitting lined up. Like, this is just weird imagery.
Yeah,
it was.
But where I was going to.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you, yes.
Can you hear us?
It's still kind of faded here, but you all can see that question below the screen.
Yep.
Yes.
The focus go back to Trump.
Can anybody
address that? Yeah.
Address that? Yes, please.
Yes, I was getting there, but let me get back to the money thing. We talked about raising $27 million in one night. That is going to have to be repeated 10 times over. 20 times over.
Look at what in 5 hours.
It's 46.7 now.
They're going to need money along the way, because look at Elon Musk. He's already pledged just himself $40 million a month to the Trump campaign. So there's 2 ways to go about that. If you have a Tesla that you have ordered, cancel your order.
Okay, well, what if I have a 2020 Tesla?
Shame on you, Melissa.
Yeah.
Shame.
I bought it secondhand. I did not buy it.
Turn it back in uncharged, not even fully charged. Give it back to dealership uncharged.
You've already got it. But I'm talking about future. If you have got one in the pipeline, no, go buy somebody else's Tesla.
That's what I did. I bought secondhand.
Yeah, but do not buy a new Tesla. Stop his order. Anything that the billionaire class has, you look at some of these billionaires that are giving money to Trump. If you see a company that they have, do not put money into these companies, because they don't care about you for one, and they do not care about America. They're trying to buy this election. So hit it where it hurts. And so when the monthly stock things go up and they have no, say, for instance, no sales in Teslas, then his fortune will drop. Who cares? Because in California, his sales since this announcement is $40 billion a month, $40 million a year, has dropped to like a rock in California.
Wow.
So we need to do that across this nation. Boycott Tesla new sales. Kill him with his money. Make him go back to the streets.
So let's focus on this question that they're asking. You think he's gonna how he will?
I also like to say, if you got 40,000 people watching on a Zoom, that's also a revenue source.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, very much so. Very much so.
So to answer the question, how is Trump is going to play dirty in this election. We know it is. The Republicans are going to play dirty. So if I was sitting across from Kamala, Vice President Harris, I would tell her, be a black woman and don't play politics and try to be all nice with these criminals out there. Show them who you really are.
She already came out with that tweet. Y'all see? She said it's the prosecutor versus the convict.
That's right. That's right.
Exactly. And that
she is a prosecutor, so we don't have to worry about how she's going to handle him. She's ready for him. She can handle him. If you go back and look at how she cross-examined Barr and those folks during the hearings, you know that she's ready to handle this. Because Trump, like I say, his thought pattern is so short, and he starts rambling. She's not going to allow him to ramble on and on like that. She will come for him when he starts rambling. Yes,
exactly.
I want to see her cut him off and say
she would destroy him. She would destroy him in a debate stage. To add on what Colonel, I think more so for her to. I don't think Kamala should really worry too much on Trump. I mean, she's going to destroy him in a debate stage, in my opinion, regardless. I think the main focus should be black voters, because there are some black voters that are not team Kamala Harris. Exactly. And that's what I feel like is the most important thing, because to add on what Colonel said about Trump will play dirty, Trump will focus on getting all the Trump black supporters that speaks against Kamala Harris. And then you're going to have you're going to have a gap within the black community. And he's going to say, okay, hey, Byron Donaldson out of Florida, we need you front and centered. They're going to probably have, as I mentioned, there's a congressman out of Texas, Wesley Hunt. Tim Scott, I don't need. But I mean, he's probably going to call all the pastors that have been supporting him, black pastors.
That preacher out of Pennsylvania, I can't think of his name now, where he took was it Detroit? It was Detroit, Michigan.
Detroit, Michigan. Yes, because
exactly.
he was at the I don't know if he spoke at the RNC, but he was at the RNC. But he's going to get all of his black supporters with followings to speak against Kamala Harris, and that's the big issue, because there's again, I've spoken with many of the groups pro Kamala Harris supporters and anti Kamala Harris supporters. Just the fact that she's a former district attorney, the fact what she, what her record was in California, to me, I'm like, look, a district attorney, they are supposed to lock up people if you break the law, regardless of ethnicity, nationality. If they broke the law, guess what? Consequences need to be served. So don't think that she was selling out the culture. Other black conservatives will say, well, she's not all the way black. She's black when she want to be black, and blah, blah, blah. That's what's going to keep on bringing the next. So he needs to, I think the main focus should be on making sure all minorities and the black community and black voters, that's the main attention. Trump is going to continue to do.
That's what I was looking for, Gabe. And he's going to find black people to use them to eat our own.
Well, yes. The anti-black narrative, I think that there needs to be a conversation happening about anti-black narrative, because what we're going to hear is, we're going to hear racism come up, right, a lot. And so I think we're going to hear, because we're going to hear racism come up a lot.
We're gonna hear black jobs.
You're going to hear
Black
black jobs, right?
Jobs.
But you're going to, what's going to happen is you're going to have white people. Okay, so this is where I'm going to speak on behalf of the Wahite people. I belong to Mayo Brigade, and I am speaking to white women. Okay, number one, white women need to step up and do their job. Okay, which our job is to get another woman, a black woman, into office. But I do think that we need to talk about the anti-black narrative that's going to come out, because what's going to happen is white people are going to use the Byron Donaldsons, the Tim Scotts, and all of that to say, look, black people, there are black people that don't support, Kamala Harris. And I'm like, yeah, that's anti-black rhetoric, right? So that's going to, the white folks are going to use that, and we need to be prepared for the messaging to be able to message behind that. And I think that's going to be I think messaging, like always, is important, is going to be a huge piece. And let's just be honest, the way black women have been treated in this country, we all know that there's going to be a lot of attacks on Kamala because she's a black
there
woman.
are.
Yeah.
There are.
And I mean, but I will say, I do think, I think it's going to be harder. I think the attacks, now that we have a candidate that is, just starkly different from Joe Biden, I just think that we have a much better opportunity for what we put out there and how we support Kamala. And again, this is going to be a fast push on this, and it's going to get ugly. I do want to address the JD Vance thing real quick, because I'm just going to say this, like, the white evangelicals with power and money that are behind Peter Thiel.
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump needs to have a food checker. If they were to win the election, Donald Trump needs to have a food checker. He needs to have personal private security outside of, listen, do not think for 1 second that there would not be some kind of like agenda to be like, okay, great. Well, we got in, and so they're fine. They would be perfectly fine.
We have JD now. We have JD. We're good.
Yep, we have JD now. We're
We
good.
have JD now.
That's right. And disposing of Trump.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. But you know one thing, I think that the more he attacks her, I think some of those people who are complacent, who's sitting at home on the couch, who's saying that they're not going to participate, I think the more how negative he is to her is going to generate something within them to make them realize, I've got to get up, I've got to move, I have to make a difference, because they're going to see it as an attack upon themselves.
Yeah.
The more they hear it. And I think they're going to have to be very cautious in how they attack her, because you're going to get this movement really going strong if you really come at her hard. But like you said, Melissa, she's a prosecutor, and it's a prosecutor against the felon, and she can definitely prosecute that felon. So,
yep.
So yes, so Melissa is correct. Well, like I said, you've got to come out hard and be ready to go down in the mud. But here's the piece: you got to get the DNC with Jamie Harrison, who has been weak on stuff. They play politics. He has been weak. Like, he has to be, if they're funneling money out here and paying money to different black organizations and different organizations advertising across there. Case in point, they had a group down in Florida that had a billboard that had on one side Castro and on the other side Trump. And they was making the connection of communism and Trump, and Rubio and the rest of Republicans got on the airways and talked about, oh, this is so bad. You shouldn't be talking about communism and a former president. And they forced them to take it down. The DNC forced them to take it down. No. If you were saying that he's a threat to democracy, which he is, keep that stuff up. So Jamie Harrison, grow a set.
That's right.
Grow a set. They want to play this way. You have to be able to hit back. If they hit you in the jaw, you hit them back in the jaw and the eye, and you knock them down till they're gone. So
Yeah.
you've
we
gotta
don't
play
go
right.
we don't go higher
No.
when they go low. Like, I'm sorry, I adore Michelle Obama, but like,
Yeah.
I'm telling you what, we cannot do that.
Yeah. Didn't
So-
she say that before
Yeah.
Trump even
It was,
hosted the
yeah.
national occasion? So
And the funny thing, Melissa, honestly, I don't think deep down Michelle really believed
Me
in what she
either.
just said. I think, you know, at the end of the day, I mean, they're true class act individuals, and it's just, you know, again, they're thinking of the broader message. Okay, what am I sending if I tell other people? But at the end of the day, you know, controversy sells, and I'm like what Leah had mentioned, when they witness Trump continue to assault and personally attack Kamala, you know, hopefully the undecided voters will say, okay, look, this is not the guy for me.
Exactly.
I'm praying and hoping that they see that. I just right now it's a little bit it's hard for me to believe it at this point, not at this point, but just what have we seen in the past, because controversy sells. And I mean,
Yes.
this guy is a former president. He was elected. People voted for him, and he's a nominee. You have individuals that just ignore his character, and he look at the finances. That's all they do, money over morals. But at the end of the day, to me, character is everything. If you're representing the full entire nation, and you're acting like this, how this man acts, it's just, that's what blows my mind most of the time. It's like, regardless of if you like his policies or not, the person he is, would you want your daughter to come home with a guy like that? You know what I mean?
Right.
Would you want?
Well, apparently 4 different men had to deal with that because he's had 4 marriages. So
that hey, look, and I mean, and that's if his marriage with Melania is even real. I mean, that's the most unauthentic relationship. Okay, now I'm taking personal attacks.
She's in it for the long haul.
Yeah. Oh, she's definitely in it for the long haul. I will say this. I have back when in 2020, when it was Kamala, and well, first of all, I would love for Kamala to do a video, like a snarky, fun promotional video about how to pronounce her name, because we all butcher it. Like I literally, like, I try really hard and to make sure I pronounce it right, but it's so funny. I was listening to a TikTok live last night where they were talking about like the pronunciation of her name and how like we all butcher it all the time. But in 2020, one of the things that I had purchased was, I had these my silver bracelets that I wear all the time. If you are ever around me, you'll always see me wearing them, and they're engraved. And one of them says Black Lives Matter, and the other one says I'm speaking. And if you remember, that was from Kamala.
That's right. From when she was on the debate stage.
And she said, I'm speaking. I'm
right.
speaking. And that's what we need more of. And I'm so ready to see that. And I do think it's going to backfire some on them with their attacks on her. And so I'm ready for it.
Well, in competitive politics, everything is framing. And the frame over the past half a year was that Biden was so mentally back compared to what he was, that this is creating a big weighted effect on the great Democrat brand. So you remove that, it's now on to Kamala Harris. And you could also reframe it back to what was the thing that was very successful for Democrats right before the red wave of 2022. It's running against the Dobbs Act. And now that can be full front and center. Momentum could theoretically completely shift.
It should. Conrad, you are so correct.
Let me ask you this. What do you think about the fact of Joe Manchin saying now that he's going to go back to Republican Party so he can go and he can run for president? What do you think?
Well, he was already a Republican.
He left the party to become an independent, but now you want to go back to the party so you can run for president. What do you think about that?
He was already a Republican.
Well, he
always has been.
Always.
The reporting said that he called, I believe, Donna Brazile about that, and she had to nicely
inquired about it.
Be a Democrat in order to try that out, and he left the party, so he can't do it.
I mean, it'll be a waste. Manchin acts like he had fans. Like Manchin, he acts like he's a popular guy. No, like, I'm sorry.
He's not.
No,
It's
he's not popular. Yeah.
like that's the interesting thing. Like
Republicans live in a lot of Republicans live.
If he was as popular as he think he is, he could go back to West Virginia and run for his seat and win his seat, but he can't do it.
You could lose to the dude with the bulldog at the RNC.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
hey, let me tell you something. Sometimes I used to say, look, a lot of dog owners, they kind of resemble they dog.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just leave it at that, because that RNC, I said, I mean, whoo.
wow.
I thought the same thing.
Man.
He looked just like his dog.
Oh my goodness. I was like
the dog.
They must be on the same diet or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but you know what? Here it is. The governor of West Virginia, who was out there with that, he used to be also a Democrat. Also, they float. It's a West Virginia thing. They float with the tide.
Mhm.
That's that Appalachia. Like, listen, they were never Democrats. You know when they were Democrats? When it was Southern Democrats.
Exactly.
So they're just going back home to the Republican Party where they belong.
And
that's where they need to stay. And they're delusional about their popularity. Like absolutely delusional about their popularity.
And they also.
Do y'all think it's fair? Do y'all think it's fair that people bringing up about Vice President Harris hasn't done enough as a vice president when nobody ever asked Biden or other vice presidents what they were doing?
Exactly.
So now all of a sudden she's not doing enough, and it's not even clearly defined in the Constitution what the vice president does.
The only role
she has two jobs really.
Yeah.
Preside, break ties, and count the votes that come in after the election.
If I was running
and certified.
First thing I would say is, well, I just want to remind the public why you have to pick another vice president.
Yeah.
Well, right. I mean, so I want to address this. So this is like a talking point that I tell people when people talk. This is literally my thing about vice presidents, specifically Kamala. When people say, "Well, what vice president? I mean, she didn't. What did she really do?" My first question to them is, "Who's your favorite vice president?"
They can't name them. They don't know.
They
them.
literally
They don't know them.
not name them. And then the second question is, so what does the vice president actually do? And then it's crickets again.
Exactly.
It's crickets again. And so that that is going to be, so for me talking to people, it's going to be, okay, so what's really your opposition to Kamala Harris? Let's get down to the root of it. And one of my other talking points with Harris is that, and do a little bit of research on this, when, all the Republicans are talking about, they're screaming about the border. They're screaming and screaming and screaming about the border. Remember when they were like, Kamala Harris hasn't even gone to the border, blah, 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 all this stuff, right? They don't even know that when you need to solve a problem, you need to get to the root of the issue. Kamala has been to South America and Central America several times, invested $4 billion in helping the governments with employment to try to help those governments in Central and South America so that to help stop the migration that's coming, to help stabilize the governments, because we all know on this call, because we've been following politics, that the reason that we're having the migration issues is because of the America's role in destabilizing over the last
most of those countries, that's for sure.
Mostly those countries. Mm-hmm. And so Kamala's behind the scenes, instead of parading around doing that, what is it, the convoy to the border bullcrap that they did
for a photo op. Not making a difference. It's just a photo op.
It's just a photo op. That's right. And she's actually behind the scenes trying to get to the root of the problem and solve it that way. Exactly. So I just want to remind people listening that is something that's a talking point that you can use, but also the biggest talking point is, who's your favorite vice president then?
Yeah.
I like that.
And Melissa, it's like,
I'm going to steal that from you.
Do it.
I like that.
For people that always say, what has she done? Has she ever even visited the border? I want to say, she's from California, right? You telling me she's never, you telling me she's never come across as a DA who's I'm just saying, you telling me she's never Come on
Yeah.
now.
And also like in Virginia, because the reality is we're talking to Virginians, okay?
Mhm.
What country do we border?
Moyoc.
Yeah,
No, I'm
no.
joking.
How is the border? How is the southern border affecting you? And why are you not talking about the people here all the people overstaying on visas from Europe? Why are we not talking about the northern border, the people that come through the northern border?
Oh, they're not going to talk about that, Melissa. They're not going to talk about that.
I know.
And a lot of those unexperienced people that are not going to talk, though, look, that is the ones that pretty much sold out that Trump rally, because like my folks live like 10 minutes away from where they had that at. 12,000 plus was in attendance, but it was a reason why they had it in that neck of the woods. I'll just leave it at that, because that was Trump's primary base. But you ask them that question, they're gonna say, you know, that's the typical Democrats or typical this. That's y'all always got to start. You know what I mean? Like they don't never have an answer for it.
Yeah.
No.
I got 2 comments before we get off the show here, because I know we're getting ready to wind down. One, when we talk about those sellouts, Byron in Florida, and Tim Scott and all these other jokers, I think the Democrats need to say every time they come on and and when Trump and his accolades put the black of the night, the black of the one that's in focus, like the preacher up there in Detroit, do a little expose and ask a reporter to go down and talk about who is this preacher and what was behind it. Talk about how Trump rented his church with a whole bunch of money, and that this preacher who has got a congregation of 200 people, and only 12 of them probably showed up in the church for this speech because they had to, you know, man the doors and everything. And the rest of the folks in the congregation doing his speeches at this church were all his Klan members were in there. Or when he shows up at his rallies anywhere across the country, and these guys show up with blacks for Trump. Talk about the organization that they are on contract, that they fly these guys in to stand behind Trump to make the illusion that he has support amongst the black population. He came here in Virginia a couple weeks ago, and they were given, and it's a point, they were given $100 for any black person to wear a black Trump t-shirt and stand up there. $100 to just stand in the crowd.
Money over more.
Sell your soul for $100.
Yeah,
that's sad. That's sad.
He's been playing. It's all about the illusion.
Did he pay them? That's what I want to know. Did he end up paying them?
Do they have Venmo, Zelle? Did they?
Yeah, but we need to say that. And when Susie, somebody comes out there in on the news media and it says, "Oh, we had all these folks, and there's the erosion of black support for Harris, saying there's no there's no illusion of that. That's only illusion of that that the support is going down, because they are just advertising. And they do have a few people that have sold out. And I say sold out like Tim Scott, that doesn't represent anybody. And Byron down there will cheese up to anybody thinks he's going to get power, who they said, okay, we're going to rate, you know, for instance, you know, he got his head blown up when they said, oh, you can put him up as Speaker of the House. They just, it's like putting your prize bull out there. Yeah, and castrating him later on.
What y'all think gonna happen with Tim Scott's white wife? You think they're gonna get a divorce?
Did he ever marry her? He did not marry her.
He didn't marry her. Have y'all seen the meme with the disappearing white woman?
Yeah. They're still engaged. They're still engaged.
Look, Melissa, he finally had to deflate her. That's what happened. He finally had to deflate her.
Stop.
All I see is pictures. I never saw, actually. I didn't see pictures.
Yeah, actually, they've already that engagement is over. It's been over.
Oh,
He's
is
going-
it?
Yeah, he's
It
gone.
ended right after his presidential bid, right?
Right after he had to prove who he was. He had to prove to you all who he was.
Yeah.
Well, he's already back with his true love, Lindsey Graham.
Oh, Lindsay.
So they're back
Okay, any
back.
last comments from the guests before we close out?
Well, I got a meme, which is really just a tweet from Ferdinand Amandi, from my brother, who shared that in our own chat from 3:09 p.m. yesterday. I hope it's slowly dawning on the MAGA Republicans that Joe Biden is now a president with total immunity and legal protections for official presidential actions as granted to him by the Supreme Court and unencumbered without the electoral concerns of seeking re-election. One could only hope.
One could only hope.
Yes. Oh Lord, I got a scenario, but I can't say it on the TV on there.
I just want to throw in, as far as my picks for VP, which I hope as far as potential contenders. Huge fan of Senator Mark Kelly out of Arizona. He is the husband of Gabby Gifford. If y'all remember the shooting that happened years ago. Retired U.S. Navy captain, retired astronaut. And I mean, look, sharp guy. Shapiro out of PA. I know it might be a little too soon for him because he's a new upcoming governor out there. And then also Pete Buttigieg. I just those are my three. Just wanted to kind of throw those names out there.
We can't have they're not going to let a black woman and a gay man.
I know. I just want I'm looking just as far as quality.
I mean, I wish.
He's smart.
He's always been on the right media outlets, responding extremely quick. He's great during debate.
He's amazing.
As I mentioned, Mark Kelly, background wise, is perfect. I know they threw in Senator Raphael Warnock up there, but to me, I'm like, you say with a black woman and a gay guy, they ain't gonna have two people of color on there.
And we can't have two women either. So
yes, so take out the group.
Yes, exactly.
So yeah,
and
I think
and you can't have two people from California as well.
Exactly.
And honestly, what was going on in California, I just feel like it'll be a
I think that is also a legal prohibition. If I recall, you can't.
To have two people from the same state.
It makes it very. It's not is it prohibited, or it makes it really complicated?
I think it's prohibited.
Is it prohibited? Okay.
I think they made a law. They made a law.
I want to double check that.
Excuse me.
It's in the Constitution, but I would go back to say, when you talk about Kelly, yes, Kelly would do it, but you can't pick a senator because of the tightness of you need to have the Senate to get these judges through. And at 50-50, and then it flipped in there. You just can't.
And Arizona's a tough one to replace. To replace a senator is also Arizona would be a tough one.
So it's much smarter to probably to consider a governor rather than people.
Yes.
I got you.
So
then Shapiro, get ready.
Well, Shapiro, but Shapiro, and I'm actually a fan of Shapiro, but he is. We also have to remember he's Jewish, and we have listen.
Oh, Melissa, you're hurting my heart.
I know.
We're ending it for everybody.
Listen, from a strategy.
It's America. It's America.
And we need the representation. But again, this is America.
It looks like it's going to fall down on the governor of North Carolina.
But I want him to stay though, because isn't he running against Mark Robinson, the lieutenant governor?
He can't run again. He already served 2 terms.
His time is up.
Run again. So he would, Oh, please.
Mark Robinson, who before the assassination attempt.
But the problem, I will tell you, the problem with Mr. Cooper, Governor Cooper down there, he is the same as Tim Kaine was vanilla, and that's one of the reasons that Hillary lost, because you just don't get any excitement with him.
Mm-hmm.
I know. That's why I'm Cooper.
So I would not even consider him.
Who are we gonna get?
They mentioned the governor out of Kentucky,
Andy
Bashir.
Yeah, he's good.
He's not going to bring. You wanted somebody who's going to bring a state with you.
We do. We need. I know, and that's why Shapiro is so important, because
he could stay in those Midwest and make sure you bring Pennsylvania with it, which is a big one. But then the other piece, if she wants to really be a transformative, throw everything at the wall, and this is against what Melissa said, Gretchen Whitmer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
2 women.
Very, very popular in Michigan.
Yeah.
You can bring Michigan with you.
Yeah, but I don't think Gretchen will do it, and she just got
the. I don't think so.
Gretchen would do it, and you could go out there, and this is your women's ticket, and this would be historic.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Whitmer is I think she said she wants to finish out what she's doing, and she has a trifecta in Michigan. I mean, they have made so much change in Michigan since they've had all 3. And I feel like she may not want to lose that momentum, but I mean, unfortunately, I hate to say it, but I feel like we need a straight, white man, Christian man on that ticket, Kamala, and I hate that. But like from a political strategy perspective, I think just to offset the anti-Black rhetoric that is going to take place and just that partnership to try to marry, like that's unfortunately I think what has to happen. I mean, listen, my ideal ticket is Harris and Crockett. Like,
oh Lord,
listen.
Oh, that's true. That's that.
We stand against all the.
They ain't ready. They ain't ready for all that.
I'm a Jasmine Crockett fan.
Jasmine Crockett, they're not ready. They couldn't handle Jasmine.
Can she make that choice before the convention?
You don't see that hand during those debates.
Or is she?
What'd you say? What was that?
I love Jasmine Crockett. Y'all don't even Crockett. Y'all don't even know.
But she's a perfect example of, don't go if they go low, go high. No, she's like, all right, exactly. I'm gonna do it just like how you did, Marty Taylor Greene. Mm-hmm. Again, just the people that we have in leadership.
And Gavin, she shut her right up. She had nothing else to say. She shut her up in the spot. So
I got that shirt, y'all. I got the shirt. I gotta get the shirt. I got the t-shirt to wear at the polls this year. I'm so ready.
Yep. I like Crockett, but I think Gretchen would be the one. She's more known.
Yeah, Gretchen is,
And it balances out, and I think that'd be the perfect ticket.
Yeah. Again, we're not ready for, the country's not ready for 2 women.
No. It's amazing,
Melissa. Time to make them ready.
So much we're not ready for. Not ready for a Jew, not ready for a gay, not ready for 2 women.
2024. It's ridiculous.
It's a new day.
But they're ready for an 80-year-old man that spray tans and
wears a diaper on his ear.
And a 39-year-old with only 1.5 years experience in Congress.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And what he's going to handle the world stage. Do you hear me? He's going to handle the world stage, please.
How long is he going to wear a bandage on his ear? And what's going to happen when we see that nothing's wrong with his ear?
But you know what happened? You know
that's for the cover of his new album coming out. You ain't know man.
But you know what's his name? The doctor he couldn't remember. Jackson. What's his name?
Ronnie Jackson.
He was the one who put that bandage. But you know when you go to the hospital, they put a flesh-colored bandage on your ear. They would not put that big white gauze on your ear. That was so that it can be seen and so that people can have pity for him. He's a showman, folks. He's a showman. That's all
marketing, y'all. Like
it really is, Melissa, because that image of him standing up with the blood streak, to me, that scared me. Personally, I said, okay, that's your next winner. Until Biden dropped out, I'm like, hey, that's your winner right now, because marketing wise, voters are always going to see visuals, and that right there is like, this is it. So now that they've had this shakeup, it's a turn of events now. It's not.
And he's saying. And Trump is saying it's not fair. It's not fair.
Oh, what's Trump say? Oh, I haven't seen any of that. Is okay.
Oh, he says it's not fair.
Oh, I bet he doesn't think
that. They were hearing for Biden,
Did you all see the Band-Aid he had on at the rally right after the convention?
It was a regular Band-Aid.
A regular Band-Aid. He had his full ear.
All these people, y'all, the people with their diapers on their ears, like I cannot, like just sitting in the crowd, like in solidarity with a diaper on their ear. Like what is this? It's a cult. You're in a cult.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Yes.
I can't tell you what another lady called it.
Oh,
I think I have some.
Use your imagination.
I got a
few
million
ideas.
pictures.
All right, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank
you
you
for having us.
all.
You have a great one.
Great Monday morning.
Yes.
As much as I hate getting up so early on Monday mornings, but it's okay.
You know
Oh
what?
yeah, and thank you, Melissa.
Yes, I set 2 alarms, y'all. 2 alarms. I did it. All right, y'all have a good day.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.